guys, today I am showing you one of my favorite techniques for starting a mix or master on a track, which is called match EQing, which allows us to take a source of audio and match that EQ as best as a computer can to an old source of audio. So the way that this could be applied for mixing would be taking, say, two vocals that were recorded on different mics and making them match to sound the same. Another way would just be to try matching your synths or an entire master of a track to another whole track that you love, meaning you could pull the master EQ from one of your favorite songs and apply it towards yours as a starting point towards mastering or EQing your track. But let's start by looking at how we could use this for, say, trying to match two vocals. I have two channels here. I have a vocal that I recorded on a really nice mic and a vocal that I recorded on a less nice mic. And as we listen right here, you'll hear the first channel sounds just a bit brighter and the second channel sounds muddier. And we're going to use match EQ to try and make our new vocals sound like the old vocal. So take a listen.
I would be the key, my semi-cinematic. With that high shutter speed, charge me up, yeah, charge me up, I'll shoot another hyper beam. I'll illuminate the shine that it radiate. I'm feeling like the illest in the won't. Big beams hella lit like a stadium.
All right, so they actually both sound pretty good, but you can tell that they're different. And this is gonna be a much easier way to match these than just by doing it by ear, opening an EQ and trying to match them by ear. So I'm gonna be using Fab Filter Pro Q for this. There are other EQs out there that have match EQ, but I'm gonna be showing this specifically with Fab Filter Pro Q2, which I will leave a link to in the description if you wanna purchase it. So, gonna create an effect, Pro Q2, on the old vocal and on the new vocal. I'm gonna be doing a Pro Q2 as well. Now this is the only confusing part. On Reason, you have to hit tab. In other DAWs, it's a different setup process for this, but this is the only area where you could go wrong here. So hit tab on your computer, and basically we're gonna take the old vocal, meaning the vocal that we wanna steal the EQ from, and you're gonna go to the output of that. And then for the new vocal, the vocal that we're trying to get that EQ put onto, you're gonna open up the CV programmer, which will show this audio in. So just take the audio out of the old vocal and bring it into the optional audio in of the new vocal, like that. That's the only step, but you gotta do that correctly or you're not gonna be able to hear anything. Now hit tab again to flip back to the front. We can close the CV programmer, we're not gonna need that. And basically, let's now drag our new vocal and put it on top of the old vocal so that our Fab Filter can listen and have some time to learn those EQ bands. So now that I have that set up and looped, I can hit play. We're not going to be able to hear the old vocal anymore because the output of that vocal is now being sent into our new vocal. Let's take a look at what we see inside the EQ, even though we only hear one.
I'll illuminate the shine that it radiate. I'm feeling like the illest in the won't. Big beams hella lit
so
like a
the
stadium.
white lines represent our new vocal. The red lines are our old vocal. Although we can't hear it, it's being sent into this EQ, so it's now ready to listen and match the EQs.
Good light cinematic.
You're gonna hit this analyzer section, and you're gonna hit EQ match.
Bumping in the traffic, hell unbothered, yeah.
Now when we're doing this EQ match, you're just gonna wanna let it listen for a little bit. So I'm just gonna play this vocal throughout the whole loop, let it listen, and it's gonna try and learn these two EQs, and at the end, we're gonna hit the match button. So let's listen through this loop.
Don't rock me, yo. With the fresh ass cut in the wind, pop my sweaty ass collar on beat, tease up, get hideous, this when we all link up. Big beams, big beams. See me maxed out, penetration. Watch my head circulate a rotation. That semi-cinematic finna. I'll illuminate the shine that it radiate. I'm feeling like the illest in the won't. Big beams hella lit like a stadium. Good light cinematic. Air it out, my semi maxed out to the car full whip full of cool cast motor purring heavy in the carpool riled up.
Cool, so it's now that it's listened all the way through that loop, we can assume that it's matched, and let's just hit the match button, which is gonna create our actual new EQ band. Now, you can choose how many bands you want to set to. It'll automatically find what it thinks is closest. I generally like to bump it up a little bit. If we go down to 2 bands, it's only gonna allow 2 bands to do it. If you go all the way up to 24, you'll have 24 bands. I like to sit somewhere around 18. I feel like that's pretty nice. And I'm just gonna hit finish. And now check it out. We have this brand new EQ that's applied to our new vocal to try and match it with the old vocal. Now, this is not a perfect fix. So you do have to go in here, and usually, like I can already tell, you seeing these in the mids where you're getting these really big pushes up, I have a feeling we're gonna wanna bring those down. So this is a great starting point, but you're gonna have to do some manual adjustments to get it to sound right. So I like to go through and hit the little headphone button, which allows us to solo just that band in here. Is that band really something we wanna pull up? So let's do that. Nope, that's a pretty ugly frequency. So let's just bring that closer down to 0. Let's listen to this one. Definitely not. Oops, that's the wrong one though. Let me redo that. Hit this guy.
Pop my sweaty ass collar on beat, tease up, get hideous, thiz when we all link up. Big beams, big beams. See me maxed out. Penetration, watch my head circulate a rotation. That semi-cinematic finna, I'll illuminate the shine that it radiate. I'm feeling like the illest in a won't big.
That sounds pretty nice. Now let's listen to these two vocals together. You're gonna have to create a new channel in order to hear that old vocal though, because it's still being sent into this Fab filter. So let's just create a new audio track and drag that down. And now if I drag this to here, we can hear how these two vocals sound going into each other.
Hit a key, my semi-cinematic. With that high shutter speed, charge me up, yeah, charge me up. I'll shoot another hyper beam. I'll illuminate the shine that it radiate. I'm feeling like the illest in a won't. Big beams hella lit like a stadium. Good light.
Now that sounds much closer to a match. I would recommend, if you're going to be actually putting these tracks together, it'd be good to put a compressor on a bus between the two of them so that they literally glue together. Maybe add some reverb so they sound better together, because you're never going to have an exact fit, but it sounds way better. Let's just do a quick listen on and off.
High shutter speed, charge me up, yeah, charge me up. I'll shoot another hyper beam. I'll illuminate the shine that it radiate. I'm feeling like the illest in a won't. Big beams hella lit like a stadium. Good light, cinematic. Air it out, my semi maxed out to the core, full whip, full of cool cast.
So as you can hear, it's a pretty cool tool. Now, one last thing I'd like to show you on this before we head over to doing this same effect but on a master of an entire track is that you have on this dB meter down here, this is where you can turn up and down the track, but if you look directly to the left of that, it says 100%. And this is basically a dry wet knob, which allows you to adjust how much of this EQ you want to apply to your audio channel. So this is also a really good way, if you don't necessarily want to add 100% of this new match EQ to it, you can kind of adjust with it. So watch as I mess with this.
Charge me up, yeah, charge me up. I'll shoot another hyper beam. I'll illuminate the shine that it radiate. I'm feeling like the illest in a won't. Big beams hella lit like a stadium. Good light, cinematic. Air it out, my semi maxed out to the core, full with.
See, that actually sounds like a better fit to me at around 78% instead of 100%. We now have a great fit. So that's a cool way to do this to synths, to vocals. If you have a remix pack and you love the original synths and you want to apply that EQ to your synths, do an EQ match on your synth bus. This is a really cool way to get your mixing going. Now let's look at how to apply this on the mastering side. So I'm just gonna minimize this and let's open up this. Now I created this little loop for a demonstration. It's not very good. It's not mixed or mastered at all, so it should sound pretty muddy. And then we are going to then apply a match EQ to another track to hopefully try and start the process of mastering, at least the EQ side of mastering. So as you can hear, it's got some bass to it, but it sounds really muddy. It's not loud enough, but I really want to get the mix a little bit crisper. So the first step to doing this is to find the key of your track. I know that my track's in G major. I also use a program called Mixed in Key that helps me label all of my keys. G major is also 9B, which Mixed in Key lets me know. So I just go to my iTunes library, I search 9B, and I can find all my tracks that I have in this key. I listened through, I tried to find a track that had similar energy, it's in the same key, and I really like the mix and master of it. So I picked Where Are You Now by Jack U, which has a great master EQ on it. So if we listen to that on its own, it sounds like this. Listen to how much more bright that is than this. So So we're gonna try and take that EQ and apply it to our original track. So let me show you how I would do that. First step is let's drag it so the drops are over each other, because I'm trying to match the drop to the other drop. I don't have a break for this little loop that I created. Next step, same as with the vocal demonstration, we're just going to be creating a Fab Filter Pro Q2 and creating a Fab Filter Pro Q2. And now we are going to do, again, the same thing we did last time. So we're going to open the CV programmer on our new audio source, or the loop that I'm working on. And we're going to take the audio output of our old audio and apply it into that CV programmer. So I'm going to take the direct out of Where Are You Now and put it into the optional audio in on that CV programmer of our new loop. So now when we listen to it, all we're going to hear is our current loop, but we're going to see on the analyzer both of the bands in red and white. So check this out. So we're going to hit the analyzer down here, and we're going to hit EQ match, and we're going to let it listen through this entire drop, or at least a good portion of the drop, so it can try and learn and match those EQs. All right, it should know it by now. Now I'm going to hit match. Now this, when you're applying a master EQ to another track, it's generally going to look pretty crazy like this. It is going to distort the crap out of it. It's going to be pulling up way too many peaks. So I would start by, first of all, adding a similar number of bands, 18 bands, hitting finish. But even before you even listen to it, I'll let you listen to it because I want you to hear how bad it sounds. I would head straight down to that depth meter or that dry wet of it, and I'd bring the dry wet down to the 20, 30, 40% range, because listen to how intense this is going to sound. I'm not even going to hurt your ears. That sounds bad. So let's take the dry wet, and let's bring that down to about, let's say, 35%, and take a listen to it now. Sounds pretty good. I'd go through that same process of listening through each band and making sure that they're where you want them. But listen to the difference now. Let's listen to, I'll play one of the loops with this new EQ on, and then I'll turn it off. All right, I'll turn it off now. And now, if I create a new audio track, we'll be able to hear this again. Let's listen to Where Are You Now? And let's listen to ours. Now, as I said, you're not going to get the exact mix from them or master that, but we are getting a similar EQ, and this sounds so much more bright, so much less muddy. It's a really great step towards the mastering process. I'll be doing a lot more videos, including how to master other mixing techniques, but this is where I start every time in the mixing and mastering kind of. This is my go-to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to be doing a lot more tutorials soon. I've got a lot I want to teach you guys. This new Reasons inspired me because I can use VSTs finally and show you some cool ways to incorporate them.